Ah, yes. Greetings, my sibling. It is delightful to see you, and I am so glad you have overcome your broken condition.
Oh, I tried to call you, Matt. I actually left a message. I'm sure it accidentally got
deleted. Of course.
Until I knew you were preparing for Andre's Battle Royale of Giants.
Yes, I was. And I won due to an all too familiar foe. Brother Nero. Wonderful!
I'm so glad my brother rendered Sister Abigail
obsolete!
How are you feeling?
I feel wonderful.
What was that all about?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast arena. Coming to the ring at this time...
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
First, representing This Week in Geek, and from parts unknown, he is Mike, the Birdman, Don.
I am one hardcore D-O-double-D.
I'm a nice man.
His tag team partner, representing the Geekcast radio network, and hailing from the outer reaches of your mind, he is Mike, TFG1 Blanchard.
I got 4 words for you. Check out my ass.
And from the Great White North, here is your special guest referee, Ryan, the UnEvenFlow.
The multi always gets his man.
You are listening to Mayhem Mics. And now, let's get ready to podcast!
The answer to everything is 42, right? This is Mayhem Mics 42. I'm, of course, TFG and Mike. Joining me is Ryan, the UnEvenFlow Merkley. Hello, sir.
Greetings.
Now that you've got your...
to do that again.
Yeah, now that you've got your Brat Hardy out of you. Okay, folks, so it's another WWE 24 episode. We are right on the cusp of Extreme Rules. We will talk about that closer to the end of this show. But WWE 24 docuseries on WWE Network. We've done a couple of these so far. The one I'm really waiting for, I was interested in this one, and and I'll get more into that in a little bit, but the one I'm really waiting for is, they announced it, I think, back at WrestleMania. They're going to do one on Ronda, and I'm like, I need to see that, now. Just do it now. Do it now! I don't know. But
yeah, I assume they want to show as much of her training,
yeah.
I guess, as possible.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's still very much... It's funny, because, I mean, she looks so good, but she's still very much new to this and training yet.
Yep. So, this was WWE 24, The Hardys Woken. Oh, boy.
Oof. Yeah.
This was damn good.
So, the first part was kind of a tough watch.
Yeah.
So, they went through the highs and lows, and the lows of the Hardy brothers are pretty well known, I think, to people. A lot of drug and substance abuse issues. And the main thing I'm just going to say is people should watch this. I feel kind of bad, but the stuff I was least interested in was after that first 30 minutes when they talked about the broken persona and that kind of thing. Because you can kind of see that he's having fun with it and it's enjoyable, and that's nice to see, but that wasn't really news to me. It was kind of the admissions of their problems and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's
what they went through is what we want. Why we wanted to see it. It's their story of what they have gone through. They were on top 20 years ago, and now they're on top again. In between that time and the 20 years, they've had a rough time.
And I think it's because we know the end to the story already, that the end is less interesting. We already know they make it out okay, thankfully. But it was how they got there that I was really interested. I was surprised by a couple things. I was surprised they got... I knew WWE had purchased some TNA material. I was surprised that they showed the match between Sting and Jeff Hardy, where Jeff was clearly intoxicated.
Yeah, he was
high on drugs. And Sting and Eric Bischoff had to kind of make the call and end it quickly, because one of the things with wrestling, we talk about it all the time, you mess up, or if somebody's not at 100%, somebody can get seriously hurt fast. We just had somebody in New Japan break their neck. So it's something serious, and Hardy was in no position to compete. I was just surprised to see it, because that was a really dark... Some of the stuff they showed, like some of the interviews with Matt and Jeff behind the scenes, when they were going through this, are a real tough watch. And anyone who's seen that TNA match, it's all over YouTube, and it was all over the place when it happened, knows it's a real tough watch.
Yeah, but again, it's part of, yes, it is a very tough watch, because these are two people that have gone down paths that most people anybody should not go down these paths. But, you get sucked into certain things and things like that, and things happen, There's nothing you can really do about it, and that's part of their history. That's part of their thing. That's what I was saying earlier, like, they've had a 20-year span where I remember watching them when they first debuted it was them and Lita, the Hardy Boys and all this.
Even
and all
before then, it was them and Michael Hayes. I think it's interesting. I thought it was interesting that it got bookended, that one of their debuts was with Michael Hayes. And everyone remembers the debut with Lita, but they originally were with Hayes. And it's interesting that Hayes was the guy that called them to say, I never thought I'd make this call, but Vince wants to talk to you guys about coming back. I thought that was kind of neat.
Oh, absolutely. Again, their journey is a complete circle. It really is. It's, like I said, they were on top. They fell off the wagon, quite literally, with both of their, issues that they've had in the last 20 years. And now they're, back in the limelight. They're back on top of WWE Tag Team kind of a thing. And this documentary pretty much shows that. And, we've talked about before why there isn't many, if any, Stone Cold podcasts anymore on the network specifically. Because, he asks the hard questions, and Vince doesn't want people giving them the answers.
Some cases, yeah.
And, you've said, I'm surprised that they showed that, or that they were allowed to say that, or whatever. I'm surprised this 24 series, especially with the Hardys. Like, I knew they weren't going to sugarcoat it, but I'm surprised how much of it is there.
Well, the other thing I wanted to say I was surprised by was they brought up Jeff's recent DWI.
Yeah.
That happened,
a year
I think
ago?
it was after, it was around the time he had the shoulder injury that they go into.
Right.
But, I was surprised it was just after the shoulder injury. They went into that as well. And just, I was pleasantly surprised by how good this was. And we've commented on before the quality of these, and this is no different. It's really good. I recommend everybody watch it. But, the surprises were all pleasant in that they did due diligence. Like, I like that they interview Matt and Jeff's friends. There's quite a few statements and things from Matt's wife, from Shane Helms, who people know as the Hurricane, if you're a big WWF fan. People remember him as that, but they've been friends for a while. The interviews with Christian and a couple with Edge, which is not surprising, because you really can't talk about the Hardys without Edge and Christian being somewhere.
You cannot talk about the Hardys
or the Dudleys.
Or the Dudleys without mentioning Edge and Christian. You can't talk about...
Yeah, the three of them are kind of joined.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and it was a whole thing of the Attitude Era. It was those two teams, and, well, three teams, Edge, Christian, Hardys, and Dudleys, they all were all Attitude.
And it's really nice to see Matt and Jeff where they should be, because one of the unanswered questions in this is, where would they have been if they didn't have all the issues? They were at the top when they got let go or had various problems. And now they're back at the top, presumably and hopefully
they
clean of everything. Yeah, and hopefully they don't have any relapses. But yeah, this didn't, like you said, it didn't sugarcoat any of it, and they didn't shy away from anything, and I was a little bit surprised they didn't, but I'm really glad they didn't.
I'm very happy they did not. I mean, I knew, like we've said before, you read all the news sites and the dirt sheets and whatever else. I don't. And even back then...
Read all the dirt sheets? Make it sound like I'm an unsavory person just creeping in the dark portions of the internet.
Most people know WWE, wrestling, dirt sheets, it's all in line with each other. But the point is that you read the news stuff, I really don't. I catch it at various points. Same thing, 20 years ago when I was 18, 19, whatever, I watched the show. I didn't pay attention to, of course, back then the internet was just, coming online kind of a thing, so... I don't remember seeing a lot of, Usenet groups saying, hey, Jeff Hardy has gone to jail, or Jeff Hardy is overdosing to the point where he might die, or, So the point is that technology in the last 20 years has advanced so much that now we can find these things out, but then we have something like this. We have this documentary where WWE is saying, hey, this is their history. There's nothing we can do. We can't sugarcoat this. We can't take shit out of this because it's their history.
And they bring up at one point Matt Hardy's online suicide note.
Yep. They spend like 5 minutes on that or so.
Yeah, so like I say, this is not a pleasant one, but man, I feel like it's well done. I feel like this is another one that same thing we said about the Andre the Giant documentary too, that I think even for non-wrestling fans, this would be really interesting because the story, everybody knows somebody who's had to overcome some type of substance abuse, no matter what. And this is a really good example of two people that really had a lot of demons to fight.
Yeah, they've had tons of demons to fight, and they've fought them. Who knows in the future what might happen or what may not happen, but as of right now, they're back on top. And as Ryan has been saying, folks, don't just listen to us, go watch this thing, because that's what I love about doing the podcast the way we're doing it now, where we do the pay-per-view once a month or sometimes twice a month if they have special location pay-per-views, like in Australia or in Saudi Arabia or whatever. But we're also, like I said, we're trying to delve deeper into the network. And yes, we're doing 365s and we're doing 24s. I have plans to do other series that are on there to pick and choose episodes, kind of a thing, to see, what is said and yada, yada, yada. But the thing of it is this is engaging. This is that behind the scenes stuff that I used to watch Total Divas for at the time. Years and years ago when that debuted.
I feel like this stuff, I mentioned it before, but these little things, the table for three, interviews and some of the other stuff are why the network is worth it. And some of these documentaries, I would say, even if you're not a big wrestling fan, or if you're not a fan of the stuff from today, as in you grew up watching Attitude Era, or even earlier, you grew up watching it in the 80s, and you're not a big fan of watching the live stuff today, I'd say to them, just try the free stuff for a month, and at least use it to watch some of the documentaries. Like, if you're an Attitude Era fan, the Monday Night Wars documentary is a must-watch. Or if you're just sort of a casual fan of it or wrestling, the WWE 24s are worth a watch. Or even some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, like Breaking Ground, which showed people trying to become WWE stars. Like, there's a little bit something for everybody on this. I really like what the network's been able to put together. And it's taken a good amount of time. But
it's been online for what, 3-4 years now?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's one of those things where they don't just have all the old stuff. They don't just have, like, WCW or Monday Nitro or the Monday Night Wars. They don't just have just that stuff. They have original program. Like, I really want to do Table for Three, not necessarily more than Ride Along, but Table for Three next, because whatever episode we end up doing of that, because that's like 3 guys or girls or whatever, you know, that you wouldn't normally see together in the, like, you know, Triple H and, you know, insert somebody, you know, I mean, that's why I love the original programming, the documentary stuff. And like we said, folks, go watch the Hardys.
Yep.
The Hardys Woken. I love that they brought Bray into that whole thing. That was super cool. Because, like we've said, they've been needing to do something with him.
Yeah, it's been... and it was kind of fun to see bits of how they... I know I initially said it wasn't super interested in the present-day stuff, but it is kind of neat to see some of how they filmed and did some of the Broken Compound final deletion stuff. You know, you can see the people behind the ring setting off the fireworks, that sort of thing. And that was kind of neat. And it is nice, like, seeing them clearly enjoying themselves again. For example, I think it's Matt, it's one or the other, that states that, it's obviously one or the other, anyway, that states that it's one of the things they love about the whole Broken stuff, or Woken, is that essentially they're doing what they did when they were growing up. They get to kind of film stuff and shoot ideas off each other and just, you know, the things they did when they were kids trying to make it or make their own division of wrestling and that kind of thing. And that's, I don't know, I'm glad they're having fun. I'm glad they're in a much better place. I hope they're able to stay there. And yeah, I'm glad this has a good story, because there's about 10 different times here where one or the other easily could have just died.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Reba Scott, you know, Matt's wife mentions it, that she just expected that this was going to end with them dying. And actually Christian says it too, that, you know, Matt, you can tell me whatever you want. I know how this ends, as with you dead. So I think everybody knew. I didn't know the Big Show was good friends with them. It's really nice to see him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is what I'm talking about with this behind, you know, these documentaries and things. Like, you know, like we said with 365 Kevin Owens and 24 on Finn. Like,
yeah,
it's the flip side of that coin. Those two documentaries, which is really cool. And like you said, you know, oh, I didn't expect to see Finn with Seth. You know, that's the cool thing about WWE Network. You can watch all the classic matches that you love on Raw or SmackDown or whatever, and you can then see other things that you would never not normally see. So,
yeah,
Go check out. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, normally we rate the pay-per-views and stuff we do.
Yeah.
I just want to say all the WWE 24s so far have just been a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 for me. They're just been really enjoyable watches that there really haven't been stuff that I sat there and kind of skipped over or anything like that. It's just, I find it really neat to see the behind-the-scenes things. For example, on the Raw 25th anniversary.
Right, yeah.
Or I enjoy hearing stories of the guys that had to overcome things, be it Finn and his injury, or Matt and Jeff and the nightmare of addiction that they faced. So Kurt Angle as well, actually, another excellent special that I know we haven't delved into.
We haven't got into that yet, but we will.
No, but I've watched it, and I mean, Angle is another guy who you wonder what his career would have been if it hadn't been derailed with substance abuse, and it's something he actively talks about as well. I mean, he ruined his relationships and ended up out of WWF and away from all of his friends, and he got to come back. I mean, I'm happy that a lot of these have a happy ending, because there's so many that don't. You know, so many of the wrestlers I grew up watching are gone already, and it's really depressing, and it's really great to see WWE be able to shine a light on guys who managed somehow to survive it.
Exactly, and that's a good thing for any fan, not just us old school people, but any of these new people that did, like, okay, yes, now with WWE Network, you can go back and relive the Attitude Era. But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you couldn't do that.
There's
you had to be there.
And there's probably some people who have the network and who are going to watch this who have never seen the Hardys before they showed up at WrestleMania 34.
Exactly.
You know?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And that's kind of neat that they didn't know, you know, maybe they didn't know that they had to go through all this, and they'll get the chance to see it and hopefully feel the same kind of way we do, which is sad that they went through it, but hey, at least they're still here, and they're
still
getting to do what they love again.
They're still kicking ass and breaking ladders, tables, and chairs over people's heads.
Less of that, thankfully. I guess Jeff does the Swanton less and isn't doing it at house shows, which, oof, that's kind of nice, because that's got to take a toll on you.
Yeah, if he was doing the Swanton at house shows, he would not be where he is.
I couldn't do one without breaking something.
Okay, we couldn't do, but
yeah, no, I'm just saying he's done hundreds and hundreds of these at this point.
Yeah. All right, so we're in the lead up to Extreme Rules, Raw and SmackDown. I don't think in the last 3 years that I've been doing this podcast have I fast forwarded much of Raw and SmackDown with how I watch them on Hulu here in the States. But oh my God, this past week's Raw and SmackDown, I was skipping all over the place. I did not care. Like, the Roman Lashley thing, fine, I get it. It's to eventually, and I haven't read the news about Brock. I keep seeing these news rumors, things about Lesnar,
nobody
whatever.
knows what's going on.
I don't know. I don't care. I'm saying
the Roman Lashley stuff, though, just feels rushed. It just feels like, okay, we need two guys to big guys. We're gonna have these two fight each other, and there you go.
Yeah, it feels very rushed, and it feels awkward. I did not.
Part of it is because Lashley, since he's come back, I don't think he didn't get a chance to find himself really. Like, he doesn't feel like a complete
character,
star or character. Yeah, better wording. Thanks. He doesn't feel like a complete character, and I don't know. I don't know. And then there's all the other stuff. So the Strowman Owens stuff. Owens deserves an award because it seems like no matter what creative gives him, he somehow makes it reasonably entertaining, because they're giving him some real garbage lately. And this stuff, what happened to the WWE's anti-bullying? Because all Strowman is doing is bullying Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels a little awkward. And I mean, props to Owens for making it at least somewhat entertaining, but I don't think it's very good. And it sucks because I really think both guys are better than this. Strowman right now, in particular, is red hot. Why he isn't at the top of the card each week, I have no idea. This is why I'm not a writer, apparently.
Right.
And what the hell else is going on?
Like, I don't even know. Like,
I forget.
Like,
I'm happy for Rusev and Styles.
AJ,
two guys that should be up there, but that's another feud that it feels rushed because it was only about a month ago that Rusev hadn't won a match in about 700 years. So,
yeah, there's that. There's Bailey, Sasha, and all that.
That's not even at the pay-per-view, apparently.
I know, but
they seem to that's moving along at a glacial pace.
Yeah,
and has not been entertaining. The Team Hell No stuff is kind of a fun reunion, but alternatively, it's not something long term. Like, no offense, absolutely no offense meant to Kane, who should be allowed to do absolutely
whatever he
wants. He's had an amazing career and is a day one Hall of Famer, no matter what. But he's not a guy who's going to be there long term. So, aside from a brief kind of pop, I'm not sure this does anything for Daniel Bryan, who's I feel like they should be getting more out of him before he either leaves the company
or gets
has
injured
to
again.
Retire.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I get it. The team, like you said, the Team Hell No stuff is cool. It's kind of a nice, comeback kind of a thing. But with Bryan, like, Bryan's, until they did that, he was going to be in a rut. Like, who else, at the time, before Big Cass was let go, and they had the whole Bryan Cass thing, at that time, after it was announced that Cass was let go, who else there, before Kane came back, could Bryan have had a feud with or a storyline with? Or I'm sure there are a number of people, but like,
where the hell is Samoa Joe?
What the hell?
That's a feud that could be at the top of the card, or even Bryan Nakamura. Or, although having said that, I'm happy with Nakamura Hardy. I think that's
a much better.
Going to be great.
Yeah,
but still, there's so many other guys who, they literally have Joe doing nothing. He hasn't appeared on certain episodes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they don't know how to build or keep guys up. It's the same thing I mentioned or hinted at with Rusev, that he just randomly goes from a guy who hasn't won in forever to, oh, hey, you're the number one contender. Well, it's not believable when stuff like that happens. You gotta at least pretend that it's real. Like, there's some sort of building going on of stars. Like, you can't just lose 100 matches in a row and say, I want a title shot, and somebody says, like, okay, just because it's written. It's got to feel like they earned it.
Yeah.
And Rusev's earned it through hard work and everything else, but if this were UFC or a legitimate competitive sport, there's no way in hell he would be there.
No, not at all.
You don't go to the World Series if you lost 100 games.
No, you don't, because you just don't do that. Anything else you want to bring up before we get out of here?
No, that's it. I mean, you mentioned it. The Raw and SmackDown hasn't been great lately, and the hype, quote unquote, for Extreme Rules, it's...
here's the problem. What was the last one that we just did? It was Money in the Bank. Okay? So, Money in the Bank, a lot of things happened.
Yeah, and it actually turned out
on air and off air. A lot of things happened. Like we said, the Cass thing and whatever else. They basically swept all that under the rug. It felt like as soon as Money in the Bank was over, yes, the people that won were able to go off and do whatever they're going to do. They, were able to gloat about how they won or whatever. Not saying that they're gloaters, but that's the best term I can come up with at this point in time. And then they just immediately started pushing Extreme Rules. Like, I get it. It was a month away at the time. But, like, we had said, we had got on Skype and discussed some behind-the-scenes stuff, I don't know, last week or whenever it was. And I asked you, I'm like, when the hell is Extreme Rules? It's not this weekend, is it? No,
we didn't even know, yeah.
Like, yeah, we've completely forgot when Extreme Rules was going to be. And that's not good.
No. And I'm not interested in going over this again, but all I'm going to say is part of it, to me, is the fact that for whatever reason, it just feels like nothing's happening. That there's just nothing going on heading into Extreme Rules. And I really feel like a lot of that is because, I don't know, one of your main title holders, nobody knows when or if he's ever going to show up again.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And like I said, we've talked about it a bunch of times, and I'm not interested in talking about it again.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. And you would think with the person that manages that person person would want to be on again. Because that person doesn't really talk. The manager talks. It's like...
Yeah, there's obviously something. Behind the scenes.
Something's going
on. And because... even when there have been breaks and Brock hasn't shown up for a while, they've still at least mentioned him. They didn't say his name once during Raw, A. Nope. And B, they would have Heyman show up every once in a while at least to promote him. Yeah. They haven't done that either. So something's going on, and nobody seems to know what. And because of that, this just kind of feels like a placeholder pay-per-view. Like, I don't know how to describe it.
I think everything at this point is placeholder for them. I mean, like, what are they going to do for... Okay, like, SummerSlam is next month, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's supposed to be a major pay-per-view.
Exactly. Like, what the hell are they going to do? What's going to happen in Extreme Rules that can then lead into storylines leading up to the Raws and SmackDowns for SummerSlam? Honestly, since Money in the Bank, there have been a week or two different weeks where I've honestly forgotten to watch Raw and SmackDown. And it's right there on my phone on Hulu. Like, it's not like I have to go anywhere. It's not like I have to get on the computer if I don't want to or whatever. Like, I've actually forgotten. Like, I haven't watched them. Like, I usually watch them on the Tuesday and the Wednesday after, because that's usually when Hulu puts them out, is the day after. I haven't really watched it until like the weekend or something, or at 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Like, I don't know. This is why I should be saying the whole WWE Network, $9.99, that's all you need to pay kind of thing, because this whole episode, outside of talking about the Hardys, is essentially pimping the network. That's why I want to get into some of this other content on the network, because the shows right now are just sucking hard balls.
Well, I can't remember who it was. There was somebody who is not on TV. Maybe it's Sheamus and Cesaro. I can't remember who. Somebody fairly big, anyway. And somebody was asked them why they're not on TV. And the answer was because creative has nothing for them. What?
How do you not have anything...
Bad? Yeah, how are you bad enough at your job, too, that you can't, do something with somebody?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Also,
I don't get it either.
Isn't the entire basis of wrestling supposed to be, keyword supposed to be, it's repeatedly not in WWE, I want to be the best and I want to win a belt.
Yeah.
How hard is it to write something around that?
I don't know. Well, again, like, it goes back to the whole thing. One belt is basically in limbo. I mean, like, okay, so they have the Universal, they have the WWE Championship, they have the US, and they have the Intercontinental. They have 4 championships, not counting the tag team and not counting the women's. Okay, so you count the tag teams, that's 6, and then you count... they've got 8 championships total. Okay? That's plenty of things for people to do, for people to go after, for creating new and interesting storylines. Like, that's why I like this whole Nakamura-Rusev thing, because Nakamura ain't going to be able to pull the low blow. He'll pull it, probably, but...
You mean Jeff, but anyway.
Oh, well, yeah. Rusev, AJ, Nakamura, Hardy. That's why I I got so sick of the AJ Nakamura thing. As great as they are working together. It was really
poorly written.
It was poorly written. It was horrible. But, so, the Hardy Nakamura, the Rusev AJ thing, those two matches, like, I'm going to be excited to see Nakamura and Hardy go at it. Do I want Hardy to win? Well, yeah, hello. But, like, I don't know who I would want to win between AJ and Rusev, because I haven't really always liked Rusev. He's okay. I mean, the guy deserves more than what he's gotten because of his, ability and all that. But, I don't know, folks. It's a trying summer. The WWE seems to be slamming into a dead stop at this point.
It drives me nuts whenever I hear stuff that we couldn't think up anything for them when there's 30 years, 20 some odd years, about Gotta Catch Them All, Pokemon, has been written, and you can't come up with something for a group of world-class athletes, who also, by the way, by nature of what they do, are extremely creative and could help with ideas, but you can't figure anything out for them.
I don't know, folks. So next up is the Unextreme Rules pay-per-view. Where can the people find you online, sir?
At Nightbeat on Twitter.
I'm at TFU and Mike on Twitter. You can also follow at Geekcast Radio and at This Week in Geek. We'll catch you next time, folks, where hopefully Extreme Rules...
hopefully it's good. I mean,
at least is extreme.
At least the last one, Money in the Bank was quite good, despite a lackluster setup to it. So. Yeah. They have to work on the setup, the event, the aftermath. They have to work on a lot of shit right now, because it's just not good anymore. Like, I don't know what happened between WrestleMania and now. Like, something has happened within that company that I don't know. Like you said when we did the Raw 24 about how Stephanie is, more like the face of the company. She's doing all the charity work and everything else. What the hell is Shane doing right now? Like, I see him behind the scenes and stuff at meetings and things like that on these documentaries, but, like, what the hell is he doing? Like, I don't even know. Like, do I want Shane in matches and stuff and having feuds? No. But the commissioner should at least show up once a month. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Alright, we're going to get the heck out of here, folks. Catch you next time here on Mayhem Mics.
You just made the list! All clear.